Aloha and welcome to this practice WOD where we're going to solve the first problem from the Project Euler site. And the goal here is to just start you using IntelliJ IDEA and start you writing some simple Java programs just so you get used to doing that. Also, finally, to get you used to this idea of doing WODs, workouts of the day, which we're going to be using for most of the course. So before you do this particular practice WOD, I really recommend that you go through this first Java application tutorial from IntelliJ and that you play the flashcard game as a way of getting some familiarity with key bindings. You're not going to really get the key bindings into your fingers until you're really using it coding, but I think the flashcard game is going to accelerate the internalization process. Okay, so for this practice WOD, we're going to do problem 1 from Project Euler, which is a pretty simple problem. We're going to list all the natural numbers below 1,000, or we're going to look at all the natural numbers below 1,000, and if they are a multiple of and we're going to get the sum of all of those numbers that are a multiple of 3 or 5. Okay, so this is really trivial from an algorithmic point of view. What you're going to really be focusing on here is the mechanics of doing a WOD, so that it's and the mechanics of setting up sites on GitHub and so forth. Okay, and Project Euler has the ability to register with the site so that you can keep track of your progress and compete against other people and so forth. If you want to do that, it's totally cool. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. We're only going to do the first few problems from Project Euler for this class. Okay, so we're going to start the timer, which is here, and then we're going to create an empty GitHub repo called Project Euler 1. So I'm going to do this here. So I got to call it Project Euler 1, and I'm going to make it a Java repository, and I'm going to add the new license, and I'm going to create the repo. Okay, so there that exists, and then I'll do this clone in desktop to get it down to my site, and I'm going to put it in the this particular directory. So I'll do clone, and voila, we've got it locally. So let's go back and look and see what I do next, and then I've got to create an IntelliJ IDEA project. So if I go here, create new project, and then it's going to be Java 1.8, and then I'm going to go to next, and I'm not going to create it from a template, and then it's going to be located in the project hosting, blah, 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 this particular directory. So this is the directory that I cloned, obviously, from GitHub. And now we have the project, okay? So we want to create a main class, so I can click here and type propeller n to get a new Java class, and I'm going to call it Project Euler 1, and sure, we can add it to Git, and so let's find out what we're supposed to be doing now. Okay, so create a Java class called Project Euler 1. The main method should compute the answer and print it out to the console. So let's go back here, and what we'd like to do is maximize the editor so we don't have to look at this stuff on the toolbar on the next screen. That's nice on a small screen, and so Command-Shift F12 gives us a little more screen space. So I can do this template thing that IntelliJ has to easily create my main method, and let's remind me of what we're actually having to do here. We've got a sum. Need to have a loop that counts up from 1 to 1,000, checks to see if the number that we're at is a multiple of 3 or 5, and then has a sum. So let's go back here. So one way to do that is to say int sum equals 0. And then for int I equal to 1, is it less than or equal to 1,000, or actually 1,000? Below 1,000. Okay, so I less than 1,000, I double plus, and we're going to say if I rem 3 equals 0, whoops, sorry, equals 0, or I rem 5 equals 0, then we'll say sum plus equals I. Okay. Oops. I. And then we need to print out, once we're out of the for loop, system.out.println I. Okay. So I think, let's just double check here. Sum of the multiples, 3 or 5 below 1,000. So it looks pretty much like this is what we want. And I notice there's some red lines here, which I'll fix. Okay, so now probably this thing will compile. So let's try to run it doing one of these, and we'll say project Euler 1. And it says cannot find symbol, because I've got variable I. Oh, right. Silly me. Okay, sum. So let's run again. Run. Project Euler 1. Okay, so we get that number, 233,168. And the question is that the right number? Well, one way we can kind of check is to say, let's print out each time through the loop we can print out system.out.println I. Actually, let's do a printf. Do that one. So we can say I equals %d and sum equals %d and %n to do a new line, and then we'll go I and sum. All right, and then to correct the indentation, Control Alt I. Oh, that's within. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's run that and see what it looks like. Okay, so let's look at the first few. So 3, and then we get a 5, we get to 8, 6 is a multiple of 3, so we add to 14. 7 is not a 3 or 5, 8 is not a 3 or 5, but 9 is a 3, so we add it, get to 23. So far, looking at the first few numbers, it looks like this is okay. So we'll comment that out. And we'll run it one more time to make sure that everything's okay. And we're going to see that we got the right answer here. So now, let's go back to our assignment. We informally tested the program. We're going to commit the finished program to GitHub. So finished WAD 1. Okay, and with that, we record our time. It's about 7.5 minutes, so let's call it 8 minutes. That's the WAD. Try it out yourself. If you can't make 8 or 10 minutes, then you should repeat it until you can.